Hi, we're so glad you're here.
But before we dive in, a little heads up.
Everything we share is from lived experience, personal insight, and open-hearted conversation.
Please don't take it as medical, mental health, or educational advice, and seek professional support if or when you need it.
We're here to share our stories, perspectives, and the occasional spicy opinion.
So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and trust your own inner compass.
Now let's get into it.
This is healing, spiritual shit, and other spicy things.
Fuck, we're gonna have some good laughs on here. Me too.
And on that note, hello.
Hello.
And welcome to the dating podcast you never knew you needed.
Yeah.
Not really.
Gosh, there's
No,
a
this
lot.
is not a dating podcast.
It's not a dating podcast, but there's a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot to unpack in life in general, and that is why we are here.
That's why we're here, and I'm Chloe.
I'm Jamie, and welcome.
Welcome. We're both air signs.
So please bear with us through these teething issues because we have no idea what we are doing creating a podcast, and perhaps we have bitten off more than we can chew, but that's okay because we're also a little bit stubborn sometimes.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. This is
fine.
life. This is how it works, right?
This is how it works. And this is Marley down here, who you can't see. But yeah, she just likes to come and
Join the chat.
join the chat.
Marley has entered the chat.
She has. But we're not going to say her name again because she's probably going to kick off. She's like, I hear that. I hear you.
But we are here with this podcast showing up to have the conversations that I suppose that we're vibing the conversations that you have like in the kitchen at a party. You know what I mean?
At like
At 2 a.m.
At 2 a.m.
All philosophical and deep.
Yeah.
With like that one
esoteric.
stranger that you'll never see again.
And they're always such cool people.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
I feel like they're a person that you could be like best friends with, but you never see them again.
Right. That's life though. Like
Yeah.
we're all just here floating around on a rock.
Yeah, crossing paths with people.
Yeah. And that's literally what we're going to be talking about throughout this whole podcast.
Yeah, all our experiences and our journeys, and sometimes it will be all about me, sometimes it will be all about Jamie, and sometimes it will be about the two of us.
Exactly. And we're both having very different life experiences, but also very similar life experiences, just like everyone else out there. I was living in London until 8 months ago. I was there for 7 years, had a bit of a quarter life crisis and came back. I don't know if you call it a quarter life crisis because I had a crisis when I moved there.
Call it
and
a
then
quarter life
I had a
crisis.
crisis when I came. Is it a quarter? It was 7 years. I mean, what I really liked was that all of my cells in my body rejuvenated over those 7 years and I came back a whole new person.
I love that.
Yeah. Quite special. But I just was chatting to Chloe one day about how starting a podcast would be fun because I feel like I have so much to say. And she felt the same. And now we're here on the sofa.
We're here on the sofa. And I was in podcast last year. And yeah, it brought up a lot in me. I didn't want it released, but then it was released. I ended up wanting it released, and I was so glad I went through this process. It was actually a deep-rooted fear around using my voice, but now because of that and because of the lovely individual who facilitated and held space for me to process these thoughts, yeah, it was released and I felt good about it, and yeah, I'm ready to use my voice more. And I've been working in mental health. I resigned now for the last few months, and I've been experiencing burnout. So I'm a certified practicing counsellor. I've got my Bachelor of Counselling. I've also got a coaching certificate, Reiki level 1 and 2. I'm also a dancer, so in the creative fields. So I've got experience.
And I'm a teacher.
And Jamie's a teacher.
Well, not currently, but I am a teacher.
She's a teacher. So both of our journeys and lived experience and plus our qualifications and learnings and wisdoms. And we thought we'd put it all together and bring you
we
this.
just have these crazy conversations sometimes and it just felt silly to not share them with others because I feel like they're quite insightful and yeah, I feel like we kind of bounce off each other quite well.
We do. When we get into that flow.
Yeah. And so here we are sharing all of the craziness of life with you, and hopefully we say things that interest you and make you feel like you're actually doing quite well in life, because I feel that everyone around this age likes to compare themselves to other people. You know, so-and-so has a house or has a family or has children or whatever. Like, this person's traveling the world.
Traveling the world. I was just thinking that.
Everyone, it's easy to compare to anyone else. But life, you can't do everything. You can't do everything at the same time either. So...
And all our shoes and journeys, we're all walking different paths, and we all come from different places. And I think these things are sometimes often dismissed. And then we fall into the comparing and social media and this and that. And
social media, people's lives look so perfect on social media.
yeah, like mine now, it's all dance related. It's all dance, but you don't know what's going on behind that. Like,
I was also just watching a TikTok about how in Australian culture, Australians aren't often happy to see others doing well on social media.
really?
And yeah, well, I mean, this was like a couple of people's opinions. I was watching a few different TikToks. I was in about a couple hours TikTok hole. But anyways, I saw a couple of people on TikTok talking about how like Australians find it hard to be happy for others when they're doing well. And I mean, that is just a real, like, someone's judgment, personal opinion. May not necessarily be true for everyone, but it is important to think about, like, to keep that in mind, that when you see someone else not doing as well as you, like, does that make you happy? Like, maybe that means that that's something you need to, I don't know. I don't really know. You know what I'm getting at? Do you know what I'm saying?
It does, because I always say the minute you start feeling those negative feelings about someone else and this starts going like this,
check yourself.
Check yourself.
But we are human, and those thoughts do happen sometimes. And I would be lying if I said I never thought like that. But typically I'm like, why do I feel like that? Why am I having that opinion? Like, and most of the time when people have those opinions, it's typically because they see something in you that they don't see in themselves, and they're jealous or envious, you know?
Yeah, and accountability.
Definitely.
Take some accountability for how you feel. And I've definitely felt it since I've been dancing too.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
Okay, so our friendship goes back, on the topic of dancing, it goes back over 20 years. Over 20 years. We don't know when, but
We used to take dance classes together.
from really little.
And then we stopped and we went to different dance studios, and then we came back together and we bonded over some dance trauma that I didn't even realize was dance trauma.
Heavy dance trauma.
Until like not long ago. I was like, oh shit.
Yes, trauma girl.
Yeah. Like, that is a lot to but I'm not going to open that door today on this episode. But I feel like there are a lot of people out there who have dance related trauma. So
Oh, yeah.
that is an episode for a future date.
It is, because I have so much to say on that.
Yeah, but we bonded over it, and we're still here today. We still have a good laugh at some of the things that happened.
Yeah, and we had so much fun too when we were younger.
Yeah. I used to live for those Saturdays.
Me too.
We had a little group of girls who were really
Yes.
good friends, and we just eat junk food on our breaks and
Get
laugh a lot.
screamed at by the principal. Another podcast, like we said. But we used to have sleepovers.
We did.
Run
we did.
amok, our birthday parties.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I hated school, so
I looked forward to, like, my
I really looked forward to
dancing
hanging out with the
friends
girls.
Were my friends. Like, the girls from the studio, and they're the girls I still have on social media today.
Yeah.
Like, in our, like, little group.
Shout out to those girls. They're probably listening to this podcast. You know who you are.
You know who you are. I don't have all of you, but I have some of you. But as opposed to, like, school friends.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I still see some people from school.
Same.
There's the odd person here and there, but
I just have my few.
I did actually see a couple girls that I went to school with recently, and they don't really speak to many people from school either.
Yeah,
but at the
that's my
same
friend
time, I
too.
feel like I see on socials that there are people from school who still hang out with their entire group.
How? How?
They're either the exact same people that they were
You've
or the
gotta-
exact opposite to what they were is what I am imagining because
I don't know. Like, how?
I don't know.
I've grown. Like, who I was this time last year is different to who I am now. And who I was the year. I've just keep
Exactly. I
evolving,
feel like I
evolving.
am such a different person, which gave me a lot of anxiety moving back to Australia because I was like, this was 7 years. Over 7 years, I have been several different versions
Yeah,
of
by
myself.
yourself in another country.
Exactly. And I've been through so many experiences that have changed me like tenfold.
Yeah.
So I was so nervous about coming back because I feel that you feel the expectations from people that you are going to, like, for example, allowing people to treat you the way that they treated you before. I have boundaries now.
And they can't comprehend like why you're just like,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
do you ever feel like, sorry to interrupt.
No, go.
On that, do you ever feel like that some people are like so freaking tied to like this past younger version of you? It's like, this is who you are, and I know who you are. I know you, and they can't let go of that.
To be honest
'Cause
with
I've
you,
had that.
the people like that are no
Gone.
longer in my life,
Yeah, I've definitely had to like,
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
it wasn't from me. It just kind of, those relationships for me just organically, they fizzle. They
Yeah.
fizzle on their own.
universe, it's frequency, and yeah, it's very frustrating because I've definitely experienced that where like people are so tied to this past version of me, and I'm like, you think you know me, but like you actually really do not know me, and you don't want to take the opportunity.
And that's
to
the thing
know.
about air signs as well, is that you don't really know them. Especially Geminis like me. You think you know me, and then I just switch it up real quick.
I'm a Gemini moon, so
I'm a Scorpio moon.
I'm a Scorpio rising,
I'm a Pisces rising.
Libra sun.
I also found out recently, I did some research because I was like, excuse me, Jesus was not a Capricorn. Nothing against Capricorns.
This is
Jesus
good.
was not a Capricorn.
good.
And I did some research. By research, I mean I asked ChatGPT. Shout out to Chad. And apparently it was likely that Jesus was a Aries or a Pisces, and particularly Pisces. And this is based on actual historical evidence that they looked into, like based on history and evidence that Jesus was most likely one of those signs, but most likely leaning towards a Pisces for multiple reasons. And if you look into the personality traits of a Pisces, it's similar to Jesus, you know, like kind of self-sacrificing, always giving to other people, quite empathetic, and like an empath as well. An empath, sorry. As well, can't speak today. And the symbol of the fish of a Pisces is quite big in the Bible, and you know they say that Jesus was fisher of men. There was so many things there. This podcast is not religious related, but I just kind of found that really interesting.
That was so interesting when you told me. When she brought that up, I was like, yeah, what the hell? Jesus is not giving Capricorn.
He's not giving Capricorn.
He's not giving
I mean,
Capricorn.
like Capricorns.
Love Capricorns.
Not Jesus.
So that's another thing. We're probably going to come out with random moments like that, random findings.
Yeah. Also, you're dealing with two neurodivergent girls, one diagnosed and one undiagnosed, but you know we bring a lot to the table.
We do. I feel like I should get diagnosed one day soon, though. Like, not that I'll do anything with it.
No, it's just
but
good. It's good peace of mind. It is good peace of mind. It kind of made me like
accept
realize
yourself.
that accept myself, but also go, yeah, that's why shit was hard. That's why life was not as, it didn't feel as easy for me as it looked for everyone else.
Yeah. That's what I need. Because what the fuck?
It didn't really change much. It didn't really change much,
No,
but it
but-
changed my perspective, and it changed, yeah, like myself, my
I feel like...
feelings.
Yeah.
My whole journey to getting diagnosed was me listening to people say exactly the things that things along the lines of what I've said. And, you know, I was feeling like you for a while, that it was like things aren't making sense. Like, why are things hard for me? How come other people like don't have these issues?
Always having meltdowns, overstimulated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you are judging Jamie, get off the podcast.
Are you judging me?
No, I'm saying if anyone here is, because everyone, again, this comes back to everyone's experience and everyone's human experience and everyone's brain chemistry and functioning is different.
And the whole point of
So
this
don't
is that
judge.
we're going to be a bit vulnerable with you, and hopefully you will be more comfortable about living in this world and living this life.
Yeah, that's the point. And again, if you have thoughts come up, check yourself.
You don't need to be harsh with yourself.
I'm being harsh now.
Personally, it's just important to like to think about, why am I thinking like that?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Because once you work out what it is, they stop.
Fully, hey. I always say the first step is the awareness.
Yeah.
The first step is simply becoming aware. And then the second step is if you can name it. I feel this feeling because XYZ, because I don't believe this about myself. And then you can unpack and unpack and unpack.
She makes it sound so easy.
It's a process.
It's not easy.
It still takes
It's
me
not
a little
easy.
bit. I can definitely unpack things a lot quicker. And it just becomes easier.
Yeah. And I think as well, there's a lot of stigma around mental health. I think that it's important that we talk about mental health, because we're living in a time where, you know, mental health is a crisis. Mm-hmm. And if you know that other people are going through or have been through similar experiences, it makes it feel a bit more accepted and normal, I suppose, in a way. And hopefully that will help you to seek help for yourself, whether it's through friends or actual, you know, services and things like that.
Resources. Yeah, definitely important. I've been struggling with mine a little bit this year. I feel like last year it was just like, yeah, like I started dancing again, got my job in mental health, everything was really... And then this year kind of had a bit of a tower moment. If you know tarot cards and you know the tower card, that has been my year.
Chaos.
But I honestly feel like the tail end, like you said, hopefully, you were saying the other day,
Hopefully it's the tail end.
Yeah, I feel like this year also being the year of the snake and shedding layers. I feel like I have had to do this and go through this because so many of my belief systems have just been like I refuse to work full time ever again. I can't. I'm not working full. That's not for me.
That's not for me either.
Yeah, like I work better just like being in my feminine flow, doing a bit of this and a bit of that. And some people might call that fluffy, but that's just what works for
Who
me.
cares if people call it fluffy?
Yeah.
If it works for you, what does it matter if it's fluffy?
So I just want to keep going.
And
with
I think
this now.
people are just different. Like, I know a few of my family members who love to work, and they will work 7 days a week.
And they thrive.
And they love
Yeah.
it, and they love being important, and they love being like the person that people call and the person who solves the problems, and they love being called boss. For me, it's not. I just want to be happy.
Yeah, I have a lot to say around this topic as well. I believe a lot of it is like systematic and the conditioning from school, which I've briefly touched on. And
I think it's personality traits as well.
Yeah.
I think it's personality traits as well.
Um,
Because I think if we use horoscopes again as an example, I feel like people who are Taurians, like if you're a Taurus,
structure.
typically they love to work and they work hard at whatever they do. Whereas someone who's a Gemini is more of a creative and more of a like, you know, a bit of this and a bit of that. Where do I feel my inspiration going today? I mean, we don't live our lives by horoscopes, and I wouldn't encourage anyone to do so, but I think it does kind of describe a bit of a personality.
Wish we could all just frolic and just just be like frolicking and
Well, I don't know too much about frolicking because My mum recently was like, "Oh, let's move to a farm. I can't wait to like live on a farm." Blah blah blah. And I was
That's
like,
the
I was like,
vibe.
no.
I'm going with
no,
your
no,
mum.
no. You go with my mum. Have
I'm
fun.
going with her.
I am a big city girl. I lived in London. I loved it.
You
My
do
time
love the
ended.
city.
My time ended there. I don't regret leaving. Leaving was the right choice for the right time. But I'm just planning my next big city. I don't know where I'm going to go next. New York, maybe somewhere in Europe. Who knows? I'm a big city girl. I'm not a farm girl.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you're a
I'm
city-
sorry. I'm not collecting eggs and milking cows. I'm a vegan.
That she is. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and we were saying, because like we're both the sort of girls that want to be like out of the matrix, built like our own crops, our own food, that sort of thing, because of the things we're into, my dancing, and we kind of do have to have one foot in the matrixy world and then one foot out where
You
we
can't
do
be completely out of the modern world.
I think you can, but it just depends on what your interests are. Because I love to dance and perform, I can't live out there and then do that. You know what I mean? So I have to. If I didn't dance, I would be out. I would see you
Like shut
later.
yourself away from society kind of out.
Yeah, I'd be out in communes. Like,
No, not for me. I'm not living in a commune. Excuse me.
I so would. Sometimes I wish I didn't have like interests like dancing and therapy, because I just go live on a farm.
I wouldn't.
I know you.
I'll come visit you though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you visit me?
Yeah.
That was so hesitant. That is so
Because I
hesitant.
just thought of like the
She's like, ooh, yeah.
trend.
I know what you're thinking about. That TikTok I showed you. I'm sorry. Wait. We have to...
Before we go to that, I was just thinking about the transition from quite farm life into city. It's not very me. Okay, now go on to. Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
we'll go into that.
you're probably gonna hear us laughing about a few little personal jokes, and we'll let you in on the joke if we can, if we feel that it's appropriate.
Yes.
Starting this podcast, I think, is a little bit of therapy for us
Yeah.
as well, because we just talk and talk and talk all the time, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And we both have views that are like quite similar, but we also have views and beliefs that are also very different.
As you can tell with the
So-
whole living in the farm, in living on a farm or in the city. So,
Yeah. I guess it gives you like perspectives from like different lenses, and some of you might relate more with Jamie and then others might relate more with me. And
and maybe you'll relate to none of us. This is the whole human experience,
it's
right?
a whole human experience, and I think that's a really cool thing about bringing like two sort of differing / we have similar as well beliefs and views and that sort of thing together,
Yeah.
because then I guess you can reach a range of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anything we have said today interests you, please keep up to date on our socials, our podcast socials and our personal socials, TikTok, Instagram, Jamie Lee, CURTALE.
Mine is Chloe_Aphrodite with an extra E at the end.
And that's about it for today. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll catch you then.
Bye. And that's a wrap on this episode of Healing Spiritual Shit and Other Spicy Things.
If you've got a question or a topic you're absolutely dying for us to dive into,
Slide into our DMs or shoot us an email.
at mystic.sisters.collective@gmail.com.
Who knows, you might hear it on a future episode.
Thanks so much for listening, and make sure to follow us on socials.
At healing.spiritual.spicy.
And don't forget, new episodes drop every second Tuesday.
Mark your calendars.
Bye.